Anime Vanguards decided to change the meta with this update, as they changed some units we didn't expect they would and added 3 new units to the game. In this video we are going to talk about all the nerfs and buffs this update as well as all the tier list changes. Don't forget to join the Discord since we'll be hosting many giveaways there. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers I'll be hosting the first one of 1k Robux. First, we're going to talk about all of the nerfs and buffs there was between last tier list and this tier list. Starting off, we have Igris. As you guys know, Igris was one of the top contenders last update of being the best unit, but sadly this update he got nerfed. As we can see, Ruler's Hand went from 40% to 25%, Strongest Shadow maintained itself, and then Shadow Commander got a 10% range nerf, which is pretty bad for full AoE units since range is really important. And this also caused his DPS to get lowered. As you guys can see on screen, his without passive DPS got lowered as well as his passive DPS. So this was not only a passive nerf that he got, but he also got a DPS nerf. As you guys can read, it says, Igris has stat and passive changes as the final upgrade stats were higher than intended. So sadly, Igris got a nerfed, and this means that he will get lowered in the tier list. Next up is Naruto. As you guys see on screen, they said in update logs that his price has been reduced, which is true, and his damage was increased. But after testing a little bit, and I made sure of this, I tested it like 10 times, when Naruto was first, for the first tier list, when it calculated his DPS was way higher than it is right now. So I definitely don't understand what they meant with damage increased, because it quite literally did not increase and actually decreased. So yeah, Naruto also got nerfed this update. If you don't believe me, test it for yourself, but it is factual. Okay, now we have Obito. As you guys see on screen, Obito got his burn damage a little bit nerfed because it doesn't apply per hit anymore. Now it applies only one time. And also we have it says that his stats were changed a little bit, but I tested it out. I saw the difference of stats now and before, and it still is the same. So I don't exactly know if he's gonna get nerfed next update, but for now he's gonna stay in the same spot at the tier list. Now let's talk about the new units we have this update. Starting off, we have Tengen. As you guys know, Tengen is pretty good. I would say it's probably one of the best or the best out of this update. He is a 3 placement full AoE unit. His passive is God of Flashiness. It's damage and range plus 10%, and it increases the dodge chance up to 60% after attacking multiple times. His other passive is Rhythm of Battle, which is damage plus 10% with each consecutive attack up to 30%, and SPA minus 2 down to 30% as well. So this means he's getting in total a 40% damage buff, a 30% SPA debuff, and a 10% range buff. So pretty good passive. He also gets dodge chance, which is pretty good for exploding challenges when you choose like the exploding debuff or buff for the enemy, or it's also good for bosses. There's probably going to be more game modes like later on that will have a lot of bosses and stuff, so it's a pretty good passive all around. Tengen's DPS without passive is 4,587 and with passive is 9,174. If you guys notice, it's literally twice as much, and he also gets a range buff with his passive, so it's a pretty good passive, as I said before. Now we're going to talk about Rengoku. Rengoku is the exclusive unit this update. You only obtain him by doing raids Act 4, he's a 1% chance, and he's a 3 placement unit with medium circle. As you guys probably know, his AoE was previously small circle, and he got buffed because he was not doing as well as he should have. And as passives, we have 3. The first one is Flame Breathing, which is 30% burn damage. Then we have Unwavering Focus, which is 20% damage if you hit the same enemy 4 times. And then we got Purgatory Unleashed, which basically scratches the 30% burn and becomes a 50% burn. And if the enemy has Purgatory Flames, which is basically if he's already burning or he already has the status effect, he gets a plus 25 burn damage. So pretty good abilities. Now we're going to talk about his DPS, which without passive is 5,202 and with passive is 10,141. This is a little bit less than double, but it's still pretty good. Now we're going to talk about Akaza. Akaza is a banner obtainable unit. He is 4 placement and has a AoE that we haven't seen in any game before, if I'm not wrong. It's like a stadium or a pill AoE that from the unit he is focusing, like behind him or like towards the back of him, towards the back of the unit, that whole range will get affected even if he's not in the circle, or even if that enemy is not in the circle. You can kind of see it in the image I show in screen, but you can also see it in many showcases. He has a pretty weird AoE, which is not bad, but I wouldn't say it's the greatest. I would probably prefer just a line AoE since it's more accurate and more reliant. Okay, but after that, I'm going to talk about his passive. He has 2 passives. He has Enhanced Regen, which is he reduces time of status ailments by 33%. Basically, this means if he gets attacked, if he gets stunned, if he gets snared or whatever, he reduces that by 33%. And then he gets a damage plus 11% up to 33% each time he gets attacked, which is not bad for infinites, since he is probably going to get attacked at least 3 times. And then we have Compass Needle. Compass Needle is basically an ability, just like Sun Jiwoo ability or Alucard ability, that once you click it, he gets a 33% buff for damage and range, and at the same time he gets invulnerable, like you can't stun Akaza anymore. So pretty good abilities. Still, I would say Akaza is probably the worst out of the 3, since he is not that consistent with his AoE. I mean, if you know how to use the AoE, it's pretty good, but still I would say he's probably the underdog out of these new units. His DPS is without passive 6,720 and with passive is 11,155. Okay, so those are all of the new units, and now we're going to go straight to the tier list. We're going to position all of these, and I'm going to talk about why they're in their certain positions. As you guys can see right now on screen, we have the Infinite, Paragon, and Raid tier list. So this tier list might be a little bit controversial, but after many calculations, this is what we end up with. So, okay, let's explain. I'll explain the main ones. I'm not going to go so in deep into it because this video would probably be like 30 minutes long if I would. But okay, let's start. Alucard, first spot, he is a summoner with bleed. I would say he's not probably. He is the best full AoE in game right now because he's the fastest one to get it, only on upgrade, what was it, 5, 6? You guys can probably check that in the spreadsheet. And he also has really good range for his full AoE, which is 49. If it's higher, if you have a better stat. So he is the best all around. He's a 3 placement, bleed, summoner, full AoE, good damage, good range. So yeah, he's still the best for infinite. And then we got Chain. Chain is the second highest DPS in game, and it's probably the first one is Vegeta, which I will explain after a little bit. But Chain is the most reliant one because Vegeta's passives are good, but they're not that good. Instead, with Chain has a base crit damage, crit rate if it's a boss, and after dodging she also has damage boost, so she has really good abilities. And Vegeta also has good abilities, but they're not as good as Chain. So that's why even though she's second DPS, highest DPS, she is probably better than first DPS. Then we have Tengen. Tengen is also really good full AoE. His passives are more consistent than Igris's, so that's why he's in the 3rd spot. He also has a little bit more range than Igris. It's not that much of a difference, but his passives are more consistent than Igris. For example, so Tengen, his passive is If he attacks 3 times the same enemy, he gets 30% damage. That is pretty easy with fully AoE, because in the whole time the enemy will be walking around the zone of the fully AoE, he will get hit at least 2 to 3 times, so that's good. Then after 15 attacks he gets minus SPA. That's also something you just gotta wait a little bit for, and then you'll get it. Then we have Igris that has, first it has to be against bosses, and it also he also relies on shadows being inside of his zone, aka you need Sungjin Woo for Igris to be good. So yeah, that's why Tengen has a better spot in Igris. And also Tengen has better DPS, so he's all around better than Igris. For all the people that are saying no, Igris is still better, no. Okay, then we have Vegeta. Vegeta is the highest DPS in game. Maybe he has a trash AoE, so people don't like his AoE, the line AoE he has, but he is still massively OP to kill bosses or to kill people, enemies that get through, so you can place him a little bit farther out, because Vegeta's passive does say that he needs to be basically alone in his range. So yeah, you've probably seen in leaderboard runs or in some like people that know how to play the game correctly, they have Vegeta separate, either really in front of the rest of the enemies, the rest of the units, or in the back to like get the ones that are slipping out. So yeah, Vegeta's really good. Then we have Igris. I already talked about Igris. Really, he's a consistent unit, fully AoE, but he did get nerfed, so he will be lower in the tier list. Then, as a summary for good, Rengoku has really good damage. Not the highest DPS. I think he is top 5, and he has burn. His AoE is better. If his AoE weren't fixed or weren't buffed, he probably would be behind Naruto or something like that. But his AoE is higher now, and he is really consistent, good damage and everything. Then we got Sungjin Woo. Even though Sungjin Woo has summons, his DPS is not that good. His spot is 6, 7, 8. He's top 8 in DPS. So yeah, even though DPS does not matter completely or entirely, Sungjin Woo just fell off basically. It's not that he got nerfed. Well, his ability Arise did get nerfed. Before it was like 60 seconds before using another Arise, and now it's like 100 or something like that. You guys can probably say it in the comments, but yeah, he did get a little bit nerfed, so yeah, Sungjin Woo is going to be a little bit lower. Then we have Naruto. Naruto is top 3 DPS. He kind of slacks a little bit. His AoE is in the smaller side, but he is really good. I would say, for some people, Naruto would be even higher up, and I totally not agree with that. I do agree in sometimes, but yeah, Naruto could be higher up, or it could be lower. It depends on the person that's using it, but Naruto is really good, and a lot of people are slacking on him. Then we have Akaza. Akaza is top 4 DPS, but you really have to know how to use him, since he has a different AoE from the rest. And his ability, if the ability was always active, he would be higher up, but the ability is momentarily, it's not that long. So yeah, that explains his spot. Obito, pretty self-explanatory. He was trash and got trasher because they nerfed his burn per hit. Then Sasuke is good. As you guys can see in the farm and support, he goes up. Why? Some people ask. It's because when you're playing, let's say, an infinite leaderboard run, or a Paragon, a really hard Paragon, or a raid, or whatever, you do want slow, but you don't want just slow, you want also damage. And Sasuke, even though people use him mainly for the slow side, he does have good damage. Not good damage, but decent damage to go by it. And his stun got buffed, because prior it was 1 second and now it's 2 seconds of stun. So yeah, Sasuke is gonna be going higher up in Infinite tier list. Not in the story one, because he still is expensive, but for the Infinite one he is. And yep, that's pretty much it to summarize the infinite tier list. Alright, so let's talk about the story tier list now. A lot of people are gonna say, wait, what is this tier list, or what is he talking about? So I am gonna justify all the positions. Starting off, we have Vegeta. Vegeta's really good. He's a really reliant unit, like a unit you can rely on for a story or challenge, because Vegeta, as you guys know, on placement, he's one of the cheapest mythics to start off. He's 1,200. He has multi-hit and a pretty good AoE. So he's really good for placement. And not to forget that Vegeta has the highest DPS in game. And it's not like it's close. Some people are like, oh yeah, he has highest DPS, but it's not that much. He has twice as much as Rengoku, just so you have like a comparison. And some people say like, oh, that's only because of his passive that is plus 100% damage if the unit is, if it's only one enemy, which is understandable, but I'm gonna take this as comparison. Vegeta and Rengoku. Vegeta, let's remove his 100% damage buff, and then we go to Rengoku, that with all of his buffs that are like, you have to hit the same enemy 4 times, or the enemy has to be afflicted by infinite purgatory or whatever it's called. After all of that, Vegeta still has more damage. After all of Rengoku's passive. So yeah, Vegeta is really good. Now we have Alucard. Alucard is a really fast getting full AoE. On upgrade 4 to 5, I don't remember exactly. He already has full AoE, he has summons, he's good, he does bleed, really good. Alright, next we got Chayin. Chayin, on placement even, she's already proccing her crit rate and crit damage. So, pretty good unit, even though she's 5 placements, so her DPS is going to be on the lower side. She is really good, she's going to be proccing those crits, she's going to be... And also on upgrade 3, she's already a multi-hit. She's like a 3-hit after upgrade 3. So yeah, she's gonna be good on placement. You gotta upgrade her a little bit to be even better. You can place multiple of her. She's not that expensive. So yeah, good. Chayin, really good. Naruto, also one of the highest DPS in game. He's top 3. He does have to, I would say, if you're going to place Naruto, place him a little bit in the back, because he has an ability that after 6 seconds he gets more damage multiple times. So probably like place a Vegeta in front and then a Naruto a little bit in the back, so he starts like scaling up, if you know how to use his ability. But Naruto also really good. He's multi-hit on placement, so good placement. That's why he's top 4 in the meta. And then we got Rengoku. Rengoku, although not one of the best units probably, but he still will justify that spot in the tier list, because he does have good damage, he does have good burn, he's only 3 placements, not that expensive, and his abilities are pretty good for, like, he doesn't rely too much on his abilities, only the ability that you have to hit the enemy 4 times, that's the only like bad passive he has. So yeah, Rengoku's still really good, that's why he's in that placement. And now we're gonna go to good. Tengen, really good full AoE, but he kind of slacks on like at the start, because he is he's not a multi-hit, so he does slack off a little bit. Akaza, he is good, but again, with his ability not being that reliant, because it's an ability that comes and goes, and then his AoEs being a little bit weird, so that's why he is behind Tengen. Sung Jin Woo is good. His DPS is kind of slacking compared to other units right now, but you can also bring him. Like in story and challenge, it's not gonna be that much of a difference. I would say Vegeta is always a must. Or like if you don't know who else to bring, I would say bring Vegeta. Trust me, a lot of people are sleeping on Vegeta, and a lot of people are not sleeping on Vegeta because they know what they are doing. So yeah, then we got Igris. Igris kind of bad. He gets full AoE like on upgrade 10 or 8. I don't even remember, but when I did the comparison, he was not up there. He also got really nerfed in his DPS, so that's why he's in the low spot. Then we got Obito. He does burn, not that good. He did get nerfed a little bit with the multi-hit thing. And then we got Sasuke. Sasuke would go in the lower side, because if you use Sasuke, you're probably going to use him for his stun or slow. But for story mode, you don't want to waste that much yen on a unit like Sasuke, so I would go probably for Alligator, because you can place 4 Alligators with the price you would place 2 Sasukes. So yeah, I would go for Alligator or Agony, any of those. Then Haruka, best buffer, and as a farm I would prefer Speedwagon, because you can sell a Speedwagon and you cannot sell a Takarota. So those extra money you would get from Speedwagon will be better at the end. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the tier list. I know a lot of people are going to be like, what are you talking about? And if you don't understand, it's probably because you didn't hear what I just said or heard the explanation. And I know a lot of people are going to understand after a little bit. Also, all of these stats, all of the comparisons, all of the things I took into account, everything is in the spreadsheet. You can check it for yourself. It's going to be in the bio. You click it and then you check the whole stuff. You can check everything I use to do these tier lists, to do the comparisons, to see the DPS, with passives. There's also a part where it says all of the passives. So yeah, everything is like, everything I'm using you can use too. That way you can take out your own conclusions. So please, if you see comments that are saying, what are you talking about? It's probably because they didn't see the video. And yeah, any questions you have with this tier list, just leave them in the comments. Like, don't be scared to ask why, or don't be scared to ask any questions. I'll always be responding. I might take a little bit because I gotta balance work and a lot of stuff that is going on, but just anything you got, put in Discord. You can ask me in Discord, in the server we have, or in the comments, and I'll respond to them. And yeah guys, I try to make this video as appealing as possible, especially for the first part, and then it's just kind of yap, but it's yap so you guys understand everything. So yeah, I hope this video was good for you. I hope it helped in any way. And if you guys want more content like this, more edited content with like cool animations or whatever, just leave it in the comments. Show support to this video, and that's the best way so I can know that you guys actually like this. Don't forget to join the Discord and leave a sub for the giveaways. And yep, that's pretty much it guys, and thank you for everything. I know a lot of people are supporting me always, and I appreciate you guys a lot. And that's pretty much it, and see you guys in the next one.